Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our network. We currently have over 25 live weekly broadcasts. We would love to have you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It's USA Global TV and Radio. Our show today is Global Adventures. Where in the world will we be traveling today? Well, to help us find out, we've got a great guest backstage. Before we bring her out, let's bring out the star of our show. That's JenettaBarry and the Epiphany process. And if you don't know, Jenetta is a huge part of our platform here. She is constantly giving back and providing education, hope, and inspiration. We just had a show earlier today, The Art of Creating Mental Health Wealth. She's also one of our Talking Heads expert presenters, and she is one of our elevated listeners. She's also one of the stars of the Spelling Bee show, and she'll be on tomorrow on our Hot Topic show. So get to know Jenetta. Here she is. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, everybody. This has got to be one of my favoritist shows. So I'm so delighted to be back here again.
I'm so thrilled. And, I have to say, I have this show up on a number of platforms, and I'm looking at us, this background. It's so vibrant. It just makes you feel alive, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like you're in the middle of a Lawrence Arabia scene.
But the truth is, you really are. You really are in the middle of an exotic scene there. And tell our viewers and our listeners where you are and what you can see from your window.
I'm in East Africa, and specifically I'm in Kenya, and very specifically I'm in the Great Rift Valley, and my house overlooks Lake Naivasha, which is filled with hippo, and Mount Longonot, which is a semi-extinct volcano. I think it last erupted in 1860. And it's just beautiful here, and I'm surrounded by wild animals. We learned the other day that on our airstrip where we take our dogs for a walk, there's a leopard with 2 cubs, and she took an impala up there a few nights ago. So, and we've got hyena, we've got all types of animals here. So I really am in a very precious, special place.
It sounds amazing. From some of the pictures that you've shared, it's just like, wow, it looks like something out of a movie. And you recently got married with all that beautiful surrounding. Tell us about that.
We did. Oh my word. We have a veranda that overlooks that lake and mountain in the distance, and we had a very precious ceremony. We were just going to go and quietly get married and let everybody know, but friends went, "Are you out of your brackets? No, that's not going to happen." So we had 20 people, including us, there with us on the day. And in fact, our guest today, officiated at our wedding. She did a brilliant job. She's a very, very special friend of mine. We've been through thick and thin together, and so much that she's done with me and for me, and we've done together. It's just been an amazing friendship. And today she is going to share a very special adventure. I got so excited when I received all her photos, but I'd like Dr. Jacalyn to go a little bit back on that and just explain that Moyra is the most amazing artist. And when we put on, for some of you who might remember, Insight Theatrical Production, we put on 3 odd years ago on depression, suicide, and solutions using contemporary dance, voiceover, music, and so on. Moyra very generously took time out and came and started to do pencil and watercolor drawings of the rehearsals. They are amazing. And then completely spontaneously, without my knowing, she made the most beautiful oil painting of 2 figures leaping, white figures on a black background, and donated it to Insight, and we used it as the poster. So I'm going to introduce you first to Moyra and then show you that painting. So without much ado, welcome my darling friend, Moyra Earnshaw.
Hi, Moyra. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, and thank you, Jenetta. That's such a wonderful introduction.
It's so funny to hear you calling me Jenetta, because
I know, I'm sorry. I actually did think I'd better sort of be a little bit formal tonight, but can I call you Netta?
Of course you can call me Netta. Everybody calls me Netta outside of work. Right. So when I have Moyra going, Jenetta, it's like, oh my word, this is so
Moyra, a big welcome to you. And I know we're going to be talking about traveling, but before we get into that, I really want to find out, what was that experience like to marry Jenetta? What was that? I mean, you've never done anything like that before, right?
No, I haven't. And I was incredibly honored and touched that I'd been asked to read those vows, which actually Netta and Andy, her husband, had very carefully and thoughtfully written. And it was just such a pleasure to read these words that were so profound and unusual and very moving.
That's an experience that'll stay with you your whole life.
It will, absolutely, it will. And especially when I asked Andy if he would be Netta's wife, that was a little bit of a hiccup.
So I said, Andy, my wife. And the other thing is, she started the whole thing off. She's our black Labrador, because we were next to a really lovely pond that was going tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. And then she got in it, just as Moyra went, welcome everybody. Out came Shisa, went all over us.
There's always something that happens that we don't plan. I remember, just a quick digression, when I got married, I'm divorced a long time, the best man gave the toast, and he gave the toast to who was my husband and his first wife. So instead of me.
Oh, that's much worse than mine.
I wanted you to feel better, Moyra.
Anyway, listen, I have to tell you, I really am enjoying my wife, so we're okay. Oh, Moyra, this is just so lovely. I wanted to start off by showing your magnificent painting. So when you and I were going through the photos this afternoon, you didn't know I snuck them in before, after you left and before you could say anything. So Dr. Jacalyn, here we go. Let's go into sharing. Okay, so here it is. And this is the beautiful, beautiful painting that Moyra did for Insight. We've still got big plans, Dr. Jacalyn, for this painting, big plans. And you and I, when we have our chat for World Jenny's Day, I'd love to share them with you as well. And then we took it and turned it into used it for Insight's program and poster. So it just amazing piece of artwork. Very powerful. Isn't it wonderful? What a talented lady you are, Moyra. Just wow.
Now, Jenetta, is the painting hanging somewhere, and is it also available as a NFT?
It's available as an NFT, yes, under the World Jenny's Day collection. And no, it's very carefully put away at the moment, waiting for these big plans.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so Moyra, what I've done is I'm going to give a little bit of background on Ethiopia, because Moyra is going to share her Ethiopian adventure with us. But for many people, some people will wonder where even Ethiopia is in Africa. So I thought I'd give a little bit of background on this. First of all, Ethiopia used to have an emperor known as Haile Selassie. Here he is in Wikipedia. And he was a member of the Solomonic dynasty, which claims to trace lineage to Emperor Menelik I, who was believed to be the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. So the Emperor Haile Selassie, in the time that he was emperor of Ethiopia, came from an incredible lineage. And with that, really, I suppose one could say that the initial grounding, very base, the start of Christianity in Africa was the Coptic Church in Ethiopia as early as the 5th century. There's been all that's been happening, and it's an amazing story that actually Moyra is going to be sharing with us. But for those of you who might not know a little bit, this is a little bit of a snippet of what we're going to be talking about today. Hopefully my internet. Now, this is a church. It's going very slowly. Also, my internet's there. Look at that. Yeah. There's the church. Look at that.
That's amazing, Jenetta. Where exactly is the church? It's in the center?
Yes, where sorry, you go. It's your story.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I can't see the image yet. But the church, yes. If you can see a little round oval like an eye towards the right of the main rock face. Do you see that?
There.
Yes.
Yeah.
There. Well done. Yes. Well,
and that's the priest.
There's a 200-meter drop along that little ledge, and that is the entrance to the church, which is one of the most beautiful. It's called Abuna Yamata.
Moyra, how long does it take to actually travel to get up there?
Up to the church?
Yes.
Well, apparently every Sunday, pregnant women with babies on their backs, old people will climb up there to attend the church service. And I would imagine it takes them about 45 minutes. It took us a lot longer because it was terrifying. But they do quite cheerfully say that no one yet has fallen, no one has died on their way up, because the angels are protecting them.
Incredible.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, it goes back centuries, that church in the rock. And
absolutely.
For some of our viewers, I can't really explain too much. I could explain a little bit to our listeners. But in this next map, you can see there's Ethiopia. And surrounding Ethiopia, Kenya's to the south and Uganda. Mm-hmm. And then Somalia's to the east and Sudan is to the left. So it's not very far from Khartoum. And above that is Eritrea and the Red Sea. So that's where Ethiopia sits, and it's been through a lot. It's had an Italian invasion. It's had Muslim influence come in, and these Christian churches have managed to keep their presence there in spite of of all different changes. It's quite something.
Mm.
So that's enough from me, because this is your show, my darling friend. And I'm going to hand back to you as we go in and explain some more.
If you just wait a minute, Netta, can you just go back? Because I can just point out here that no, to the map. To the map?
Oh, the map, yes.
Map, yeah. I can't actually see that. There we go. You can see from there, you know, it's only recently that, in recent history, that Eritrea is now a separate country. So you can see there how close. You just have to cross the Gulf of Aden, and you're in Yemen, and that's where the King Solomon and Queen of Sheba came from. So it's all very close, and it's also very close to Byzantium, where a lot of the influences of the paintings in the church came from. And yes, and also Somalia, Ethiopia, yes, Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia. There are many exchanges, and I'd say particularly Somalia. But you can see there, that you can see right in the middle is the capital, Addis Ababa. And then if you go north from there, you don't see Lalibela, but it's somewhere around a bit further south, a little bit further south than that, Lalibela. And there's also some wonderful mountains called the Geralta Mountains, which, as you'll see later, are spectacularly beautiful, as are a lot of the mountain ranges in Ethiopia. And those are the ones that have the churches hewn from the rock. And then further down in Lalibela are where the churches are chiseled out of the rock face and dug down. So in fact, they're emptying the earth and the rock, they're carving it from the rock face down. And it's just quite extraordinary. And tradition says that they were carved, first of all, by King Lalibela in about the 13th century. And he had been to Jerusalem and seen the complex of churches there, and decided to come back to his country and build similarly in Lalibela. And he was helped by the angels and the saints, and they're still standing today in remarkably good condition. And they are used as a very much a living religion, a living and very literal religion. And so, well, let's go on to the first pictures, Netta. This, if you can see, we just landed, and I was there with my family. We just landed in Lalibela, and there was no chance that you would not be able to find the first church we went to, which is called Bet Georges, which means the house of George, St. George, because there is a river, absolutely thick river of Ethiopians, people coming to worship. This was near Christmas, and that's a very, very special time for them. And they've all got their white gowns on, which are called gabis, and they're just homespun cotton, very beautiful. And hundreds, thousands of people are just surging towards this church, and all the churches in Lalibela, they're all very close. So you can't get lost. You just have to remain upright. I think you can get an idea in that one of how densely packed everyone is. And there's just two little sort of Caucasian heads sticking up there. And the rest are wonderful, gentle, absolutely just so endearing Ethiopian people. So that's where we're heading. And then there is the church itself, and you can see how it is hewn from the ground.
It's amazing.
It's quite extraordinary. Yes, really, really is. But it was so touching all the time that people were, they were just so, it was just such an act of devotion to go there. And I was always present to that, something that we have lost.
Moyra, is the cross cut from the grounds, or
yes,
what is?
Yes, from the ground, absolutely. And that is the church. You can go down there. There are steps going down, and that is the church. Inside that cross is the church.
It's amazing.
You can see people down inside there, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can. Just yes, you can.
Quite something. And you know, it's something about the Ethiopians' features are so very different to anywhere else in Africa. That's the other thing, is that they're these gentle souls with these high cheekbones and olive skin. They're very very different, and one wonders why. Yeah, why? Very interesting. Okay, so here we go.
Yes, so everybody is in their best clothing. So those that can afford it have these beautiful brocade umbrellas, and they all look rather regal. And you know, some of the women have their beautiful all hand woven clothes on, and their gabbies, their white shawls are underneath that. And there's not even a lot of noise. It's just it's devotional. You couldn't really turn around and go back the other way, but there was never a sense that it was going to be like a football squash. It was just extraordinary. And the picture on the yes, there he is with his umbrella, not holding it over anybody in particular. It would be nice to think that there was possibly the Queen of Lalibela, but there wasn't. It was just his own umbrella, and he's
from the heat, because it must be
exceptionally
exceptionally hot there. Yeah.
Yes,
very
hot.
How hot? What would you say the temperature would be?
Oh God, I'm not very good at that. I should think it's about 27, 28 degrees
and that's
Celsius.
Yes.
That's Celsius. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a bit difficult to see, but this was a lone figure sitting on a step outside the church, and he's just reading. They're all reading the Bible. It would be written in Amharic, which is it's really the official working language there. And this is at night. This is on Christmas Eve, and their calendar is not the Roman calendar. It's their own calendar. So Christmas comes around January the 7th, between January the 7th and January the 9th. And at night, everybody is given a little taper, and they light it, and you hold it at 12 o'clock. You light it and you hold it up. And so there's this little sea of tiny little lights, and people are sitting on top of the church there because the priest is down below, as we'll see soon, and they're singing the liturgies in an ancient language called Ge'ez, which only the priests really are fluent in. And they're accompanied by drums and these things like rattles, and it's incredible, chanting. So I don't know if we can get that video, Netta.
And we have it, but I found out earlier I still can't show a video and the sound doesn't come through. We can certainly see the movement there, but
Yes.
the sound doesn't come through.
Okay.
I can hear it, but nobody else.
I can hear it.
I can hear it.
Oh,
I can
wow.
hear it.
Okay.
Yes.
So why it's working now and not earlier?
It's a bit sort of distorted, but
that
yes,
was it.
It's there.
Yes, excellent.
Yes, that was it.
How long is the church service typically?
Oh, all night.
Oh.
Yes, it goes on all night. And it's funny, the priests, who are all in their wonderful robes, are at some point taking selfies of themselves and taking pictures around and videos. So it embraces the 21st century as well as the 14th or the 6th or whatever. And this is another church in Lalibela. It's called Beta Mariam, and those pillars outside are supports. So it's a World Heritage Site. So a fair amount of money has been spent on preserving these incredible churches. And those supports are holding up a kind of a canopy that covers it and protects it from the weather. But that is a beautiful church inside. Unfortunately, I just had to cut down on the number of pictures and number of churches. So those are really the two churches in Lalibela, but that's just scraping the surface. And it's so wonderful to go inside because the floors are carpeted richly, and there are wonderful paintings on the walls. And it's sometimes difficult to take flashes inside. I just felt it was very invasive, so I didn't in these ones when there was a ceremony going on. So the outside does not represent the beauty of the inside of these churches.
And just so amazing that they carved all of that out of that rock face.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Isn't it extraordinary?
It's like nothing I've ever
Quite
seen.
Unique. Before. Yes. Yes.
What is the pink fabric? The pink? Yes. And can you go back, Janetta, please? See it being
the pink in the back will be. It'll be like curtains, and if you go behind there is yet another part of the church. So they're just very sort of rich silk curtains. Mm-hmm. Yes, really, really lovely. Yeah. In all the churches, or most of them, there is an altar behind some curtains which contains the Ark of the Covenant, which are that is the 10 Commandments. And it was said that in about the 5th century, the Ethiopians and the Copts were allowed to carry that, and it was called a tabot, and to have it in their church. And in Aksum, that's another city, is where the Ark of the Covenant is kept. But it's something. It's a strange thing, funny thing, because nobody ever sees it. It's taken out in its little box and paraded around, but no one sees it, and that's fine for everybody because they believe in mysteries.
Fascinating.
So it's the power of your belief in a way. So the Ark of the Covenant it's the treasure of all the churches.
I mean, it could be something out of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yes.
And,
yes.
Today, doing a little bit of research myself, I was reading today that that there is a older than the King James Version Bible in Ethiopia, written also in Ge'ez, which,
right.
As you say, is the ancient dead language of Ethiopia. And this Bible is 800 years older than the King James Version and contains 81 to 88 books compared to 66 in the King James. And it includes the book of Enoch and Esdras, Baruch, and all 3 books of Maccabee, and a host of others. And that blew me away.
Isn't it extraordinary? Yeah, that is the one in Aksum.
Right. And they say it's the world's oldest illustrated Bible, because one of the things that they also said, Dr. JACALYN, is that because it's a dry heat there, everything has been preserved. So those Bibles are 800 years old, but when you open it up, the pictures are perfect. They haven't faded or anything.
No.
Did you get to see that, Moyra, that Bible?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We saw the church. It's called the St. Mary of Sion, Tsion, in Aksum. The first of these Christian churches that was built. It is, the antiquity is extraordinary, and that they're still using those same books.
Bibles.
And they use them.
Daily. Yes. 800 years old.
And they're all wrapped up in their gold, in their gold thread, beautiful, their gold threads and displayed, sometimes taken out and displayed, and then taken back, and the mystery goes back with them.
Just quite exceptional. Shall I move on?
Yeah. Yes, let's go. I think we're now going up to the Gibraltar Mountains. Yes, there they are. And this really does not do them justice. They are the most extraordinary rocks and mountains. And you can see it's very, very, very dry, very dry.
And the points that we see, that's all created naturally.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, one of those pinnacles is the pinnacle of the church that Netta was going to show us, the video of the priest climbing up there. And they chose it because it was, you can keep an eye on your enemies, and also they felt they were closer to God up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I mean,
the priest goes there daily, doesn't he, to meditate and pray?
He does. He's always there, and he comes down, sleeps in the village, and then off he goes again.
How do people travel there?
By foot. There was another incredible moving thing to watch after the Christmas celebration. Everybody walked home again, and some had shoes and some didn't. They're very poor people, and they still had their white gubbies on, and they walked home, and there were just streams of them walking along these dusty roads, happy. This was the high point of their year.
It's amazing.
And they'll
Wow.
walk for days to get home. Days and days.
I feel like we have got a great documentary here.
It is an amazing one.
Yeah. Let's see what's next. I think I've chosen to. I also, anywhere I go, I love to draw or paint the people or the buildings or the animals. And this was drawing in one of the churches. God, I've forgotten what its name was. The Abba Dani. No, this is Mariam Koko Church, which is a very, very pretty little church, and it's a long walk to get to it, but it's not steep. So that's the priest just watching me. I think I was drawing some drums, and he just wanted to make sure. Or maybe he was just curious. I don't know. But they're very friendly people. And they're very welcoming.
That's a great
just
picture.
Go in and, yeah, yes, it was a wonderful experience. And that's one of the paintings. It's not the most vivid one, but that's in that little church where I was sitting. Very, very Byzantine.
Very.
Yeah.
Very Byzantine. Amazing.
Any idea
Sorry?
Any idea of what materials were used to paint that? I mean,
well, they touch them up if they can here. There's no any sort of, we can't touch these sacred pieces. But I imagine that they would have just used natural minerals, like maybe for the blue originally, they may have used lapis lazuli, powdered down, and the earth tones they would have used, I don't know, maybe something like ochre and coal and chalk. Yeah. But as Netta said, it's so dry there that it's preserved. They're preserved inside these churches. It's just the dryness of the atmosphere. Some of them have got water damage, but on the whole, they're in beautiful condition. And it just lends that antiquity that makes it more attractive.
It looks like she's got her finger in Jesus's mouth.
Maybe she's, yeah.
Yeah, she's doing a Princess Diana. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I've only noticed that now. That's quite something. Yeah,
funny.
She's definitely got her finger in his mouth. Baby Jesus.
How strange.
I can't even see that.
Yeah, apparently the Madonnas and child and baby Jesus that were painted before the 16th century had him sitting on the other knee, had him sitting on her right knee. And then some of them were changed, but after that, they were all sitting on the left knee.
I wonder why that. What the significance of that is. It would be so interesting to find out.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. And then I think if we carry on, I think we're coming now to the big climbs. And this one is to one that's called the Daniel Kokor. And it's you have to climb up this chimney, which here looks quite manageable. But as it gets higher, you're kind of squished between these two rock faces and just doing, I don't know if you're familiar with the term doing chimneying. as you from rock climbing, where you're just sort of going up by levering yourself up with, against the rock face there, both the rock faces. You're just sort of shimmying perhaps up there. And it's very tiring. It's very steep. And
did you feel safe when you were doing that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And as you say, nobody's died since the 5th century.
No. So they say.
Amazing. So they say. This is true. Very true.
Yeah. So, and then you come to this rock face that you have to. There are plenty of footholds. It's just that it's quite a sheer drop.
This looks like a great workout.
Yes. Looks a bit like one of those. Sorry?
We'll have you going, Dr. Jacalyn, and we'll be saying, right, and 2 minutes left.
Go. Get to the top.
Go.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's very hot.
Very hot.
Very hot. We've got a little bit, it's my fault, a little bit confused here, but that's okay. This is up to the other rock face church, the one that's just on this pinnacle. In fact, you can see the entrance to the church. And at this point here, my son, who gets vertigo, decided no, he wasn't going to go any further. So he just stayed there. And he looked behind him, and there was a cave full of skeletons. Wow. And that was, because it looks quite sort of secure there, but I don't know, if you have vertigo, just looking down is enough to, I don't know, you'd want to jump over the edge. You just lose all sense of stability. And he said, those skeletons, he thought it was a sort of a hallucination first, but they were the bodies, the skeletons of all the priests who've been there since the time it was carved out of the rock. And they're all piled up in this little cave there. So he sat down there and spent an hour or so with the ancestors while we struggled up, sort of palms sweating and trying not to look down.
That's quite a climb.
It was a climb, and that is the priest just standing in the doorway there, and there is a 300-meter drop sheer just beyond his toes.
I feel like I'm ready to jump just from standing here.
No, you don't want to be doing with vertigo. I mean, I don't get vertigo, but I kept my eyes up. Now, we're now looking back at the other church, which is lower down. And it's a most beautiful church. It's probably one of the prettiest. It's very, very light. And the paintings on the roof and on the walls there, as we're just looking up at them. And it was nice to feel, you could lie down and there was no more drops. And none of the faces there, you can't really see it on this picture, but none of the faces have mouths because they're people of spirit and they didn't need to talk. So there's a really special atmosphere in that little church, and it was so light. Most of the rock-hewn ones are dark, but this is full of light.
It's beautiful.
Yes, really, really lovely. It was, Abba Daniel. Now, can you see, we're back now at the other church. Can you see that is a bridge? And it's a bridge of some wobbly old rough wood. Yeah, that is a bridge you have to cross, and that takes more than faith. It takes a little madness, I think.
Did you go across it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had to. Yes, couldn't go back. Once you've embarked on this, you have to go forward.
And there's nobody you can
And
call saying, hey, can you come pick me up?
no helicopters there. No,
Can't use your
nothing.
son.
No, that's right. And then, yes, this is actually in another church at the bottom, and so they got a bit jumbled here. But it just does capture that lovely ancient feeling. And the
Amazing.
priest is there. Behind those curtains is the Ark of the Covenant. So it's a very important job for him. And it's very quiet and very cool inside. And on the next picture, I think he's just having a little nap.
No, you said
Oh, no,
leave it
he's
out.
not. No, we took him out. Oh, okay.
We
No
woke him
nap
up.
for him.
No nap, no.
But
And
look
then
at this one.
this is the last one.
And that's
I
you, right?
Yes. I couldn't have stood like that priest. I came in on all fours at that point and crawled into the cave. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was just so beautiful.
Absolutely.
The beauty. Yeah.
Now here's Moyra's
Oh, sorry.
pictures.
That's a bit.
Wow.
Yes, that's
incredible.
everybody. Oh, there's the sleepy priest. There he is.
And you drew that while you were there.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Sorry. I'm just trying to capture the devotion everywhere. Doesn't really.
Those are the drums that you were talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yes. All the churches have drums and bells to call the faithful. And those two, one was blind and the other one was muttering and reading to him from the Bible. They all have their version or one of their books. Yeah, they're not too
Amazing.
It's incredible.
clear. Yeah.
What a journey. What an experience.
Yes,
I've never seen anything like that.
No. Well, my daughter and I decided that because while we were there, this climb up to the church in that little round hole was something we were all of us were thinking, oh God, can we do it? Will we dare? Oh. And then that morning, my daughter and I decided, right, this is it. We have to do it. It can be symbolic. If we can do this, we can do a lot of things. We have to face that fear. And we did. Yeah, she was there. As I say, my son gets really bad vertigo. So you just can't go on if you've got vertigo because you're all over the place. But yeah, so that was the ultimate. After that, it was good to go. It was good to go home and just with all these lovely images.
How did your feet hold up?
They were fine. Yes. I had tried to get quite fit before I went. And actually, that's another thing about that climb. You have to, because in all the churches, you have to take your shoes off, which is that's normal. But to climb up to these churches, this one in particular, you have to go barefoot.
Wow.
Yes.
That is not for the faint-hearted.
No, it wasn't. No. And the guides there are all very sweet and saying, now put your hand here and your foot there. And there are well-worn handholds of a million feet and hands going up there. But it's like going into a different reality. You leave your shoes behind. You leave all your preconceived ideas of safety, and it is just a wonderful thing to do, a climb into the clouds, into that
Jenetta,
absolutely beautiful.
I am thinking that we absolutely have to submit Moyra for the next season of Survivor. I think she barefoot rock climbing all the way. Oh my goodness. That is truly incredible.
I just knew, you know, when Moyra, when you got back from Ethiopia and we were sitting having our coffee, and you were telling me this, and the moment the global show came together with Dr. Jacalyn and me, I just thought we've got to have Ethiopia there. And of course, the next show we have Moyra returning because she got to go to Antarctica.
That's fantastic.
On the Agulhas. On the ship, the Agulhas. It was the Agulhas you went on, was it?
No, it was called the Ushuaia.
Okay.
Ushuaia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the way through, and wow. I mean, when you got back from that, we put together a special little video of that.
Oh, yeah, you did it, Netta. It was just wonderful.
It just blew me away, Antarctica. Just blew me. So, you know, for our viewers, next episode, we're going from the heat of Ethiopia to the freezing of the Antarctic, but there we go.
Apart. Yes.
Which is spelled with a C, Dr. Jacalyn.
Yes.
Moyra, I am just so blown away by what you shared here today. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it. And to actually have you here and you did it yourself, that's amazing. Truly.
Thank you.
How do you feel after having that experience? Do you feel changed in any way?
Well, certainly for a while, it just lived with me. It was like a lightness and a joy. It was really, really wonderful, and and a strength as well. Just yes, it was just wonderful to feel that. To have walked that last little path around there in bare feet, and I just remember how warm the sand was, and the color of the sandstone on the rock face across the chasm, and it was just such a privilege, such an incredible privilege, and they're just such charming people. The priest was so sweet. He came out and welcomed us in. If he'd had a cup of tea there, I'm sure he would have offered us one. But I said, could we see the Bibles? And he said, of course. And he went and brought out, they were all wrapped in sort of shrouds, and they were the original Bibles from, I think they were about the 11th century. Imagine. And the covers were carved olive, and the pages were vellum and painted, and they were just perfect. He let us touch them and open them. It was, just such an incredible privilege.
What an experience.
Yes.
Some people might not realize that Ethiopia and Haile Selassie is where the Rastafarians have come from. So the Rastas, it's all been birthed from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. How long did it take you to get to Ethiopia, and how did you get there?
Well, it's very close to Kenya. It took us about 2 hours to fly to Addis, and then 20 minutes to Lalibela by air. If you drive, we didn't have time to drive, but if you drove, it would be, I don't know, maybe a day's drive, because the roads are not good. Even though it's a wonderful experience to drive on the roads there, because the parade of people is just mind-blowing. The people on their horses, in carts, and some of the horses have got flowers in their manes, and some of them haven't. And then there are some on foot, and it's just wonderful. It's quite biblical in every way.
Yeah,
And
that's
of
what
course,
it feels.
what the Italians did leave was coffee. So they have the most wonderful coffee ceremonies where they roast the beans, they grind them, and you're not offered milk. You sit there throughout the whole ceremony. It's probably a bit like the tea ceremony in Japan. And the smell is just tantalizing.
You know, again, one of the things that I didn't realize was that until fairly recently was that the first coffee bean was found in the Ethiopian highlands.
Oh,
And
wow,
yeah,
really?
and a shepherd watched his goats eating this red berry, and then they were going gidding all over the place. And I guess when the Italians came, they took the bean and took it to Europe, and your espresso, and so actually coffee comes from Ethiopia.
Oh, well, what a wonderful circle joined there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd love to know,
wonderful.
how close are the two of you in terms of distance?
Oh,
we used to be round the corner.
Yes.
We used to be. When I was living in before COVID, I was living around the corner from Moyra. But it's about, with the traffic here, I'd say about 2 hours drive away.
Yes, a couple of hours. Yes. Yeah. Not far at
So
all.
it's not a long journey, but it's long enough.
Yeah.
But I think it's so wonderful that you have this beautiful friendship and this connection. I love it.
And by the way, Dr. Jacalyn, Moyra lives round the corner from KERBECK. We tried to interview KERBECK with the Northern White rhinos a few weeks ago, and her internet, you think your Wi-Fi is unstable. We just couldn't get her on.
Now, Jenetta, when you say round the corner, does that mean literally?
Literally.
Yes,
literally. You can walk to her. Absolutely walk to her. So and in fact KERBECK is on the edge of the giraffe sanctuary, and those are the giraffes that stick their heads through the windows and eat people's breakfasts. You've probably seen those videos. And that's where KERBECK lives around the corner on the giraffe sanctuary, and we must get her back. And maybe we could get her to come and plug into your Wi-Fi, because hers is really lousy. It's not good.
Yes, she's welcome, but this is not reliable. I wouldn't.
Well, this one's behaving, and the other one didn't.
I'm so happy. I think it must be the saints and the angels.
I was going to say, God is with us. Yes. I would love if you can have KERBECK and the giraffes. Can we have the giraffes as part of the show as well?
Yeah. She can talk about the rhinos and the giraffes, and they're all well. The rhinos aren't in there, but she and her rhinos. Wow, quite something.
Incredible.
And then of course she's got Chulu up in Laikipia. And we've just had the royal show on, but KERBECK's daughter is married into a family who have a lodge up in Laikipia, and that's very close to the Craigs. And the Craig family are very, very good friends of Prince William. And it's through the Craigs that Prince William got to propose to Kate in Kenya, in Laikipia.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the kind of almost the next ranch is KERBECK's daughter, and she does horseback riding safaris. So we'll get her to come through and talk about that too.
I can't
I've
wait.
got her on my list.
Oh, wonderful.
This has been a fascinating
Fantastic.
show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I can hardly wait for
Oh.
Antarctica.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It was just wonderful to share all this.
Thank you. Thank you. You're
No.
welcome anytime.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Thank
Both
you.
of you.
Well, we're going to close out for now. We've got another show starting. So thank you to both of you. And Moyra, we'll look forward to seeing you not next week, the week after. I think that's our next episode, right, Jenetta?
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
So yes, that's right. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Thank
Okey-doke.
you, everyone. Any
Thank
final words,
you.
Jenetta or Moyra, that you want to share?
Just
No, just keep pushing those boundaries.
yeah. And just don't miss next episode. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. Be there. You be there or be square.
Be there or be squared.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
Lovely.
evening there, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.